भक्तवृन्द जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So yesterday we read till here how Arjun was apologizing to Krishna. So we'll read this verse again and then we'll move ahead. सखेति मत्वा प्रसभं यदुक्तं हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानं तवेदं मया प्रमादात् प्रणयेन वापि. So Arjuna is saying, my dear Krishna, sometimes I insulted you by calling you my dear friend Krishna, without knowing the greatness of your inconceivable power. Please forgive me. I was mad to address you like a common friend or a common man. Bhagavad Gita 11.41. Similarly, when Krishna was playing jokes on Rukmini, she feared that he might leave her and became so perturbed that she dropped the fan with which she was fanning Krishna and she fainted. Rukmini's hair scattered as she fell unconscious to the floor like a plantain tree blown down by a blast of wind. So, we were reading yesterday that how the mood of the Brajvasis are different from those in Gokul and in Dwarka. So Arjun, when he saw the Virat Roop of Krishna, he immediately apologized, saying that I insulted you because insulted how? Just because he felt that I shouldn't have called Krishna my dear friend because I'm so insignificant. He is the supreme personality. So he apologized. Then in Dwarka, once Krishna was seated, was resting, and Rukmini was fanning him. And Rukmini Devi was fanning Krishna. And then Krishna starts joking with Rukmini Devi that why did you marry me? I have no wealth of myself. I'm just a son of a cowherd. Like my father has wealth, but I don't have any wealth. And I'm just a cowherd boy, just a villager. And your father uh, wanted you to marry Shishupal. He's so rich, he's a king, and he has so much wealth, and he's also so beautiful. So, all such things Krishna started saying to Rukmini Devi. And hearing all these things, Rukmini Devi got so perturbed. Well, she thought that Krishna is saying all these things because now Krishna is planning to leave her. So immediately the fan which she was fanning Krishna, it fell from her hand and she fainted on the ground. So just like a plantain tree, plantain tree is like I think the banana tree. So if there's a because the trunk of the tree is very thin, it's not very broad. So as soon as there is a very uh, there's a blast of wind, the tree might just fall off, just fall plain flat on the ground. So like that, Rukmini Devi fell on the ground unconscious. So what does this mean? That the mood the in Dwarka is very different. They are seeing Krishna, they are seeing the Supreme Person in awe and veneration, and they are always seeing that they are the servant of. Although they are in Madhurya Bhav, although they are in Sakhya Bhav, but still they have this the intimacy that the Vrajavasis have for Krishna is very different from the mood that the Dwarkavasis have for Krishna. But as far as Yashoda Maya, Krishna's mother in Vrindavan is concerned, in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.45 states, Trayach Chop no त्रयाचोपनिषद्भिश्च साङ्ख्ययोगैश्च सात्वतै उपगीयमान माहात्म्यं हरिं सामं यतात्मजम् त्राय्याचोपनिषद्भिश्च साङ्ख्ययोगैश्च सात्वतै उपै उपगीयमानमाहात्म्यं हरिं सामन्यतात्मजम्. Mother Yashoda thought that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by all the Vedas and the Upanishads, as well as by the Sankhya system of philosophy and all the authorized scriptures, had been born from her womb. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.14 that Mother Yashoda bound the child Krishna with a rope as if he were an ordinary son born of her body. Another description of Krishna as being treated as an ordinary person appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.18.24. There it is stated that when Krishna was defeated in the games with his friends, the cowherd boys, he means Krishna had to carry Sridama on his shoulders. So they never apologized to Krishna. They could never think that, oh, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, so we need to apologize. Their intimacy transcended all these awe and veneration. So that is the mood in Rajdham. When Krishna appeared as a child to Mother Devaki and Vasudev, they prayed to the child. They offered their prayers, Vandanam. But Mother Yashoda, what did she do? She tied Krishna with a rope because he was mischievous. So that is the difference. Regarding the gopis' dealings with Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.30.36 to 38 describes how when Sri Krishna took Srimati Radhika alone from the Ras dance, she proudly thought, my dear Lord Krishna has left the other gopis, although they are as beautiful as I am, and he is satisfied with me alone. In the forest, Srimati Radharani told Krishna, my dear Krishna, I am unable to move anymore. Now, if you like, you can take me wherever you desire. Krishna replied, you can climb on my shoulder. But as soon as Krishna said this, he disappeared. Whereupon Srimati Radhika repented very much. When Krishna disappeared from the scene of the Ras dance, all the gopis began to lament, saying, dear Krishna, we have come here and left aside our husbands, our sons, relatives, brothers, and friends. Neglecting their advice, we have come to you, and you know very well the reason for our coming here. You know that we have come here because we are captivated by the sweet sound of your flute. But you are so cunning that in the dead of night you have left all the girls and women like us. This is not very good of you. They are chastising Krishna. So in Vrajudham, their intimacy is so much that they are chastising Krishna, that you are so cunning in the dead of night. The word shama means controlling the mind and keeping it from being diverted in various ways while fixing it on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, one whose mind is fixed on the Supreme Lord is situated on the Shama platform. On that platform, the devotee understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything within our experience. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 7.19. After many, many births of cultivating knowledge, one who has attained the real knowledge surrenders unto Vasudev Krishna because he can understand that Krishna is present in everything and that he is distributed all over the cosmic manifestation. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam mam prapadyate. Vasudevam sarvam iti sa mahat no um, it What is it? Iti mat. I forgot the. I can't remember the last line. Iti matva something. I forgot the last line. So bahunam janmanam ante gnanavam mam prapadyante vasudevam sarvam iti sa mahatmasu durlabha. So such a person, after many many births, after of cultivating knowledge, when somebody gets real knowledge, they are able to surrender to Krishna, knowing that Vasudev is Krishna, and he understands that Krishna is present in everything, and he is distributed all over the cosmic manifestation. Although everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord and is situated in his energy, in the Lord's energy, everything is nonetheless different from Krishna in his personal form. Although Krishna's energy is present in each and everything that is there around us, that does not mean that it has become Krishna. It is Krishna's energy, but the personal form of Krishna remains as it is. No value is decreased just because Krishna's energy has been expanded to so many forms. But the personal form remains as it is. Therefore, it is called Achintya Bheda Bhed. It is stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that the platform of Shama, on which one understands that Krishna is the basic principle of everything, is the same as Shantarati. Unless one is elevated to the platform of Shantarati, one cannot be fixed in knowledge of the greatness of Krishna or of the diffusion in his different energies, which are the cause of all manifestations. This same point is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.19.36. Shamo mananishtata buddhe dama indriya samyamaha titiksha dukkha sammarsho jivvopastha jayodritihi. Shama, that is equilibrium of mind, is achieved by one who has concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the original source of everything. And when one can control his senses, that is called Shama. Now, Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains that what is this controlling of senses. When somebody forcefully or superficially tries to control the senses, it can be done for only a very limited amount of time, very limited time period. It is not possible to control our senses, which are compared to uh, snakes, or which are compared to this. It's like a monkey. Okay, it if when it wants something, it just needs it. So it is very difficult to control these senses. These are like snakes. Any moment they can bite us. But Srila Prabhupada says that you have to dovetail these senses and give it the higher taste. So if your eyes are always wanting to watch something, eyes always need something to see. So why not see the form of Krishna? Then our tongue always wants something nice. It wants to say something, it wants to speak something, it wants to eat nice things. So the tongue is always hankering after these things. Why not speak of Krishna? Why not glorify Krishna? And why not accept and honor Krishna Prasadam? These are higher tastes. Our ears are always longing to hear something. Listen to Krishna Katha. Listen to Harinam Kirtan, Sankirtan. So this way, when we are constantly dovetailing our senses, instead of superficially controlling them, we are dovetailing our senses and giving it a higher taste. That is when it becomes very easy. These snakes that can bite any moment, they become snakes without any fangs and without any poison. So they, even if they bite, nothing is going to happen. So our senses then come under our control. This is the way to control the senses, and then we will be able to come in this on the platform of Shama. When one is ready to tolerate all kinds of sufferings to control the senses, just because I'm unable to eat something that is not offered to Krishna, initially it may feel like a suffering, because the urge is so much, because we are so uncontrolled, we are so tied up by our senses. So initially these things may feel like suffering, that I am unable to eat something because it is not offered to Krishna. But later on, these things, they will not impact us like that. So when one is ready to tolerate all kinds of sufferings to control the senses and keep the mind steady, that is called titiksha, or tolerance. And when one can control the urges of the tongue and the genitals, that is called dhritihi. One who has attained dhritihi is a dhira, a pacified person. A pacified person is never disturbed by the urges of the tongue and the genitals. So, Krishna willing, we'll continue reading tomorrow again. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your association. वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री जय पताका स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। श्री भक्ति
जय
श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि
हरि
बोल।
हरि बोल।